Alright, what's up? Gonna be continuing with this Just Candidates 2022 book on Chessable. It's only there for pro members, which I think is only me for like another month, so I guess I better finish it before they snatch it away from me. Yeah, let's go with this. I think I already did the examples for this game last time, which is why we're here on the part where they just show the game in plain text. Some of the games are really annotated, some of them are really not. This is one of those that's not so much. So we'll just see the moves. So far this is all Grunfeld theory, I'm pretty sure. Fun little exchange sacrifice. And somehow it's only good enough for a draw. Alright, let's move on to something a little bit more interesting. Let's see. So we have some puzzles from Rajaba versus Nepomniachtchi. Rajaba took on c5. How did Nepomniachtchi respond? Good question. How did they respond? If I watched the tournament, I'd probably know. But I didn't. I was busy. Well, they don't have to take back on c5. So I think they would play queen c7. Okay, so exchanging queens first. Then the very ambitious thing would be to play b5. But then they're going to play something like knight e5, and there's a lot of pressure on these light squares, so I think they played c3. Just to get back the pawn and try to inflict some inconvenience on white. You can see here the pawn's on c3 at a much later stage of the game. Okay, so somehow we're forcing a rook endgame here. It's probably with c5. Yeah, they can c5. And there's our rook endgame, which is very, very equal looking. Black has a very small initiative. It's asking how did Rajaba repeat the position. Good question. I mean, do we not have options? Thanks, Shy. My haircut is just putting all the hair on the back of my head. Just hiding it. So I can make it messy anytime I want. Okay, so this pawn's hanging, but they could probably also just go win the a pawn if they wanted to. I imagine that's not great. This would threaten to win the e-pawn, then they'll play king f6, which doesn't seem great. So I'm gonna say defend the pawn. Alright, defend the pawn. No? Okay, so let's say I try to win the pawn. I go here, they take this. I guess I'm gonna go right here. They play a5, I play rook a6. It's not much of a repetition. There's also like, they could maybe advance this pawn. No, I don't think so. Alright, maybe it's rook a7. All these moves apparently draw. Vinod says, what a haircut. More like, what, a haircut? It's not really cut. Or are you guys expecting ponytails? I mean, people always talk about my hair on stream. I don't know why. So I am going to come in at some point with like 2 French braids, like a Viking, you know, like this. And then it's gonna be that way forevermore. And we're gonna have to deal with it. Okay, I think it's rook d6, maybe. Really not necessary. Okay. Just one of several draws, really. And here's the full game. I guess they didn't want to comment the draws too much, even though there's probably a lot of interesting stuff lurking here. Like, the rook endgame always has some kind of hidden stuff. Rook endgames are just like that. It's not like this is an easy 4 rooks endgame. Though it is a very short one. Okay. How did farrugia react to Nakamura kicking the h4 bishop in this game? Great question. How did he react? I imagine he sacked a piece, like knight g5. Oop, not that. This. Yes. And then maybe they would protect it some more. And then we play e5. Like, that seems totally reasonable. But I'm sure that, like, Nakamura was anticipating this. So it says, farrugia threatens queen f4, putting pressure on f6. How does he respond to the threat? It's pretty typical in positions like this to play like king g7 and rook g8, but I don't think this really solves the problem because e5 is also on the menu. So I'm not sure. Like, this knight should probably be on like d7, this one. So this would temporarily delay queen f3. That might be not terrible. I don't know. Hold on. Maybe king g7. Okay. I knew it was rook d4, but I wanted to calculate it a little bit more. So it's rook d4. And then this is the critical moment because e5 is kind of coming up. But I think after king g7, e5, I can play knight d5. Oh, he gets check. I don't know why. Let's see. Yeah, this kind of looks silly at this point. Yeah, why did he give this check? I either want to go here, or maybe bring the rook. I don't know. We're a piece up, so we might just be giving the piece back. But I find that pretty suspicious. Yeah, understandably, I didn't enter rook d4 with only like a minute to think it over. Because this is complicated. I think this move might make sense. No. I don't know what to play, so I'm going to play this. I want to play rook d8, but queen d3 is not mate. Like, I want to go here, make them go here, and then do something nice. But as soon as I play rook d8, they're playing bishop f6. maybe here with the idea of queen c4, but I feel like you're just getting mated after this. You know, maybe not, because things do come with check. But also establishing the strong bishop on f6 is pretty major. Maybe we'll go here. Oh, I completely missed queen a4 check. See, this is why I'm doing this first thing in the morning. Binod says double rook endgames with same number of pawns are almost drawish in nature. I don't really feel that way. I feel like when there's more rooks on, there's more potential for an attack and mistakes. It's more complicated. One second, guys. All right, cool. So let's go forward with this. Queen a4. And this kind of has to be it, right? Because we sack the knight so that we can trade down. This is a little bit tricky to see, I think. So we're doing this move. This move's not hard. This is kind of what I wanted to play, but I wasn't sure how it would work out with knight takes d4 being necessary. Rook d4 is logical because if we don't play something like rook d4, getting our pieces active, white is just playing e5, and it's going to be pretty simple. And the e5 pawn is supported by d4, so I'd like to get rid of it. But the hard part is seeing, like, okay, how are we not lost here after, for example, queen f4? There's also e5 here. This is what I was thinking about as I was running out of time. But there should be a solution for it. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal. You know, we could always give the piece back, I suppose. But how is a good question. This might be a puzzle in its own right. Let's open the analysis board and flip over there real quick. Binod suggests that I'm promoting Chessable courses. I don't know if I'm promoting it exactly. It's something that's available for free with your membership. I'm mostly just exploring it because I wanted to look at these games anyway. I think this is more entertaining for you guys than me just opening ChessBase and going through them. All right, let's analyze this position real quick. And Binod's also asking, when am I launching my own courses on Chessable? That's a great question. So I had one person who wanted to do a collaboration, but things are going very slowly with that, so I might actually start doing my own thing. But I don't have a timeline on it because right now I'm trying to make sure that my real life stuff is all under control. And probably next year makes more sense than this year because of that. I think I would need to wait until like next summer to actually start publishing my own books. I also might not choose to put it on Chessable because I don't think their platform has really improved that much over the past couple of years. Same thing for chess.com. So I might see what other options I have. Alrighty, so here, what if they play e5 was my question. Queen b7 makes sense generally, but like, what happens if they take this? Are we not getting mated after? What am I missing here? Oh, queen e2 mate. Yeah, this is all just early morning stuff. But hopefully I'll do better at this as I switch to mostly early morning schedule. Be less sleepy at the board. So the kinds of courses that you guys might expect me to publish in the near future are going to be hopefully kind of humorous books aimed at starting and intermediate players with some stories about chess, but like also exercise books. I'd like to focus on like strategic exercises that are appropriate for people who just learned how to play, because there's a lot of tactics stuff, and tactics are important, but like everybody can work on that with. I think random puzzle sets are pretty good now compared to before. Thanks for following Chess and Bad on Twitch. Hello, welcome. What is going on here? Sometimes in these books, I hate the text that they give. They're like, where does farrugia see options to press for a win? I feel like you could just randomly generate statements like that about chess, where they're asking you like, find the best move. That's really what they're asking. They're just using some extra language. I think it makes the most sense to play over here. All right, maybe I'll start with this move. Well, these are alternative moves, so it's probably a related idea. Sometimes I don't know how to interpret the alternative move idea. It could also be like f3 and g4, just to augment this h-pawn moving down the board. I kind of want to just ignore this knight on d5. Like, it's a good knight, I can't get rid of it. I'm just gonna pretend it doesn't exist. So maybe f3? Okay, that's a good sign. Now, I could defend the h-pawn with the bishop, but then that allows maybe knight e3, knight c4. That might be useful. So I'm going to play like this. Okay. I could put the bishop on g5 and try to play this rook endgame if they play knight f6. That might be good as well. But I also don't know if I'm... Yeah, I guess I'm playing g4 either way, so maybe this is not so bad. Okay, they're trying to play c3. Do I even need to honor that? Maybe I can play king c2, or maybe I can just keep going. I think it's good to stop your opponent's idea, so maybe I'll do this. Oh man, they didn't like it. They just went for it. Bernard suggests that I should publish endgame courses. Why? Why do you think so? Because I think there are already some very good endgame courses. For instance, well, in all fairness, I do know a lot about endgames, so I could do that. But like, we already have 100 endgames you must know. We already have Dvoretsky's endgame manual. There's a bunch of old books about endgames that different people like. I think the newer ones are better. Gelfand just put out some endgame books. I think it's really well studied, so I'd rather do something that's new, something that helps people a little more. All right, so g4, and then just push these pawns, right? I think that's the whole story. Maybe to start supporting. Okay, I don't know why I'm playing rook d1. Do I really want to sack the exchange here? Maybe it's to threaten pawn takes f5 to make them take on g4. That makes sense. Maybe I'll come back here now. Improve my king. They really don't want me to use my king at all. They're like, just push. Okay, but here, what if they play rook g8? Again, let's pivot to the analysis board. By the way, Binod, if you have a good reason why I should publish an endgame book, I am open to that idea. I'm just curious about what you think would be new or helpful if I did that. All right. Oops, I didn't mean to do this one. Do this one instead. All right, rook f1, kind of obvious. Okay, now this is a tactics puzzle. Here it says to play h6, and the idea is that when they take the bishop, you play h7, and they can't reach it with the knight or the rook or the king. So that's pretty nice. I kind of like that. I'm gonna put this as a puzzle in my Discord. And if you guys are not already there, just holler and I'll send you a Discord invite link. All right, where's my tactics? Okay, here we go. Oops, I said it wrong. Alrighty, let's switch back then to the main course. Main course makes it sound like we're eating something. Yes. The chess main course. Nom nom. Vinod says, Masterclass on Van Perlo Endgame. You mean the book, Van Perlo's Endgame Tactics? That could be something I could actually contribute to. Oh, you know what's funny? I just was asking the question of what to do in this position, and that's the next exercise. We throw the check. They go to e8, and we just push them. And if they played king g7, it would be bad coordination for black. So this is really, in my opinion, the critical line. After king g7, it's like, why are you even playing rook g8? You can't take the bishop. So if I was doing a master class, I would have to do something unique, right? I don't think I could just use the material from Van Perlo's Endgame book. Unless I don't understand the concept of a master class. I remember a few years ago, the first master classes came out. It was like with Kasparov and a few other people. And I kind of thought it was just like a bougie version of chess classes. Like just chess for rich people. I don't know if there's some more involved explanation for what the master classes are all about, or why they call it master class and not just regular class. I think usually classes are taught by experts. So Nakamura is offering an exchange of rooks. I don't see why not. I mean, it's like bishop against knight, and we have crazy pawns. All right, I'm just gonna take it. Bam. And maybe bishop d2, hitting that pawn on a5, and then g5. We could be seeing a blockade with king f7, king f7, king g6 blockade. Maybe this way instead, just to keep a little skin in the game. Let's say they just play a move, for example. Then g5, king f7. You know what? I don't know. I'm gonna play this one. It was bishop d8. Okay. I'm at least glad that I'm seeing the options, even if I get it wrong. Okay, now I was gonna play g5 here. Am I finally going to use my king? I don't think so. I think the king is a spectator in this game. Okay, so if I play g5, king f7. They're getting to g6. But also that would give me a free hand on the queen side. So do I have a winning plan? Maybe I could play like this. Yeah, the text of this book is not very helpful, but the examples are fine. I kind of like them. So Bernard has a good suggestion that if I was going to make an endgame course, I could add my own insight and experience. I do have a lot of examples from my own games that I could use, or just from my time being a coach, like examples that I use over and over again. Actually, a lot of my YouTube content, if you see my recorded short lessons, those are examples that I use in class. Ones that, I mean, I don't necessarily teach them the same way online when it's like for free and, I can't see my student in front of me. But a lot of the time, those are the same kinds of examples that I would use. But that's not everything I have. It's just like a few. Like whatever I have time to upload, I send out. I have like databases full of examples. So maybe I could do something like that. Alright, so farrugia should push the pawn to g5. How does Nakamura defend it? I mean, I don't think it's defensible. I thought this was their move. I thought this was the only move. And here I should probably play like c3, but that might just be encouraging white. Because I think their winning plan is to come like this. So maybe I need to take this moment to play e5, e4, and make a blockade. But then, if I have the pawn on e4, they might come this way. Maybe it's knight f4 to take this pawn. Oh, but the problem is bishop f6, so I can't do it. So maybe it's e5. I don't know. Okay, so it said the text just says like Nakamura needed to find c3. Yeah, easy to say with the engine running. But I wonder why it's not e5. Probably it's the reason that I said, where the king comes to g5 and f5. But even this is not clear to me that it's a draw. Like, I need to come back, otherwise bishop f6 is happening. Is this really a draw? I was concerned that the king would come like this and just take these pawns. Maybe we're playing b4. But even then, they can take, and I can't take back because of bishop f6. So I would have to play a3, and they could play king c3. So I think that's lost. Like, this is really perplexing. Vinod, thank you for the compliment. And I'm glad that you've watched almost all of my videos. I have to admit, I have some that are secret. Some that I don't have a published link for. But I think most of the best stuff I just left out in the open. And if you've watched like all of my content, I should definitely take your suggestion about what to do next. Yeah, the ongoing lessons that I'm doing with Sam is very good, in my opinion. And I'm really grateful that Sam suggested that we publish it, because normally I actually do stuff like that with students like every week, or I did until recently. I've been making some changes, but you know, that's a kind of like what my normal coaching is like. It's different from my uploads and stuff. It's better, but I can't do it every time for like the YouTube audience for free. You know what I mean? Because I have to pay the bills. But I'm glad to share at least a little bit of it, so some people can get the basics down, so they can start teaching themselves, which is kind of the point of that whole series, that like once you get an overview of like what chess is all about, you can go learn by yourself. So let's analyze this a little bit more. I think I want to analyze, first I want to analyze what happens if I play e5, so we can pivot to that one. By the way, Binad, we're going to have at least 10 of the chess degen training. So there's a lot more coming. So here, if I play e5, it shows the winning plan. I'll just play out whatever the top line is here. It says bishop h4. Okay, I don't know why bishop h4, but probably anything's fine. Bishop g3. Oh, what's funny is it's Zugzwang. I'm running out of possible moves, because if I play king h8, there's bishop e5. I wasn't planning to play king h8 at all. I'm just kind of showing. That'll be a very funny checkmate. And I can't play e2 because I'll just lose the pawn. So this is a very nice winning idea. It's more simple than what I thought would happen. Which makes me wonder, is what I thought would happen even winning? So let's say I get here and they just, you know, like come over here. b4 draw. Okay, so maybe they'll not allow it. Maybe they'll play like this, with the idea of bishop c3. So this here black's even better. Like, they play b4. Interesting. I think if I take with a pawn, then we're seeing c3, pawn takes, and then a3. And I cannot stop both pawns. It's very interesting. Maybe I'll save this position. First of all, this position. Very interesting. So we're going to snip this one and put it on Discord. Under endgames. Where's the endgame? Right, here's endgames. Okay, so there's this position, and then we were just looking at not this one, but this one. So black to play. All right, nice stuff. And let's switch back. So now it makes sense why it's c3. c3 was definitely a candidate move, but with very little time to analyze both, I was kind of tempted to play e5 and find out. c3 is definitely more logical, but I was worried that it didn't survive. Okay, so Nakamura has to find precise moves to draw, and can I find them? That's a great question. Can I find them? Well, I don't know how precise I really need to be here. Like, am I not just creating a pass pawn? Let's see, take, I play a3, they should go here. a2, they do this, and I'm probably in trouble. Okay, so I can't just do that. Excuse me. So maybe I would go here, which is actually not threatening to move the knight because bishop f6 would still win the game. So what would they do? I don't know. First instinct, I'm going to play this. All right, apparently b4 is surviving. So I think this is necessary. This is also... Oh, this is not necessary anymore. All right, interesting. So because the pawn is on e5 and the pawn is on a3, they don't have any bishop checks like anywhere along the way. So we're using this moment to advance the pawn. And it's because the king's on e1. It's kind of silly situation. So now I think we can play a2, bishop b2, and knight c6. But then there's king d3, king g7, I imagine. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe king g7, king e4. Maybe knight d4? No. Maybe knight d4 earlier. Maybe like this. Knight c6, king d3. Oop. Oh, I ran out of time. So just coming back to take the pawns. Makes sense. So I have to do it like this. I guess I better take that bishop. And that's a draw. Interesting. Okay, so Binod is suggesting upload strategy on rook versus queen endgame strategy. Never converts to a win. I have one video about that. Maybe you've seen it. I can find it quickly. Just give me one moment. I did a practice session. It wasn't like a full lesson. Push Robert, queen versus rook. I'm just gonna... Alright, I found it. Not my highest quality video because I filmed this during a situation. Anyway, if you've seen all my videos, you know that at some point My apartment was destroyed in a flood, and I made that video during that time. So like, it's not the highest quality. I'm sitting in some weird place, but I think the content's pretty good. So I hope that that is more important than how it looks. Alrighty, so next one. This is just the recap of the full game. We have some Nimso thing. Whenever someone plays like Queen D8 to E7 when they're in a pin, I feel like this provokes this kind of play from white, this like sharp, attacky type stuff. But I also like to play both sides of it. Knight C2 is a good move. I don't know if black is better. Probably not, but like it's at least some kind of interesting position. You know, it's got imbalances in it. There's room for error. I think white was better, according to the game notes. At this point, it definitely feels like white's better. But it ended in a draw anyway, somehow. There was no puzzle like find the lost win for white. So I imagine it was a draw. I think the author would be remiss if they did not mention a win in such positions. Okay, now here's the next round. That's all just stuff that we'll figure out anyway as we go. They have this statistics thing in the book where they talk about like their chances to win and updating it every round. I don't really prefer it, but I think some people might find the statistics interesting. The fact that baseball is a game at all sort of supports that idea, because baseball is a game of statistics. People love that stuff. Yeah, no problem, Binod. I hope that it's useful for you. And if you still have questions after watching that video about how to play Queen versus Rook, I could always do something more targeted, because that's a topic that does interest me. Alright, Nippo something, double-edged blah blah. Okay, what do we do? Maybe take on d5. I don't see what's really wrong with that. Like, just kind of say, I don't believe in your attack. Yeah, I think we should take it. Okay, I said no, don't take it. Maybe f6 then. I should have thought of that in the first place. That's like clearly a good idea. Now do I play rook g1 or take on f6? I think if I take on f6, it might improve their knights, so I might enjoy making them take here. But they also might respond to rook g1 with king h8. That's probably some kind of accomplishment. So let's say they take this way, I take, they take, I take. They'll probably move their king. They could play knight g7 though. And then maybe knight g3. This looks like a move. It doesn't even mention rook g1. It says knight g3 was slightly more precise. So what's wrong with rook g1? I thought it looked very good. Okay, so do this and this. No? Okay. Never mind. I'm wrong. Darkness and cold. Maybe this rook. Okay. If they had a pawn on c3, I'd be more willing to play b3, but I think I should probably just accept my fate that they're going to open the file. The knight is already snug as a bug in a rug to protect a2. So what am I going to do? Maybe this one. Okay, apparently they need to play b3. Shy, welcome. Shai suggested it's nice to have someone to run through a couple drills with. I absolutely agree. I think I did a video where I talk about using the computer for that in positions like queen versus rook. But even then, something I've noticed with the queen versus rook position in particular is there is established theory about how you should play with the queen against the rook, right? Like Dvoretsky has a bunch of examples. They're good examples. There's like a couple in 100 Endgames you must know. Ruben Fine talked about it, I'm pretty sure, in his basic chess endings. But when you play against the computer, it uses defenses that aren't in any book, which is very interesting to me. I've noticed sometimes when really strong players are facing off with the engine in queen versus rook, when they're just analyzing, like when it comes up in practice, sometimes the engine will play a move and they're like, there's no way that this can possibly be surviving because it goes against this rule from this book. But then they analyze it more and they find like this is an exception to the rule. So training with a person is probably better in the sense that you get more realistic defenses and you get an idea of like where are people going to go wrong. But the downside is that there are going to be situations that are fine and you're going to not know what they are if you don't play against the engine. So I think a mix of the two will be really good. And yes, Shai's mentioning that the Discord is definitely good for working with other people. So I will just share an invite link again in case you guys don't have it. I know Shai has it, but not. I don't remember what your handle is. So if you want to join, there's our Discord server link. Speaking of material imbalances that Binod brings up, I think that they can be a headache for people. I personally like it when the position is imbalanced. I think that it's easy for me to understand what kinds of important things happen from a material imbalance. So whenever I can create like rook versus minor pieces or minor pieces versus rook or like bishop versus knight or two bishops, I usually do better in my games when I can have those imbalances. So I think it's a yes and a no. Like material imbalances are going to be harder to handle if you're against a strong opponent. But then again, so is everything else. All right, so let's go forward, I think. Like I kind of get where they're coming from here. Okay, so D4 is a blunder according to Geary, who I believe is the author of this book. Queen G2 looks really dangerous because they have to move the queen, I imagine. Like, I don't know, here, maybe here. We can play knight wherever. King H8 only move. Or maybe I'm playing knight here, they move the king, I take this. Sorry, take this. If the queen is somewhere on the 7th rank, they'll take back, and then bishop G5. That looks good. I think it is. Alright, shoot. We go here. Alright, cool. I missed it. At least I didn't run out of time. It says Queen G2, Queen C7. Black is in time to defend the queen and bishop. I still think that there's probably good pressure after bishop G5, but okay, I'll take their word for it. We take this one. I can take this too. And then play bishop G5. Or I could just trap their rook. Oh, right. They can block with... Well, actually, if they block with knight G7, is that okay? It probably is. Yeah, I think bishop C5 makes more sense. Just getting the rook. No frills, no fuss. Alright, so Farrugia's trying to get a knight on C3. Maybe play queen C7. His commentary is that this was clearly a mistake. I generally would advise people against giving commentary like that. For example, if you're giving a scientific talk, which I know chess is not a scientific talk, but if you are, and you say, like, clearly this, you're kind of alienating your audience. It's better not to do that. Just a stylistic tip. Even if it is clear, but, like, that's better for, like, conversational English. I don't know. I'm going to sack an exchange here. Oh, it's bishop b6. I still don't really think this is great. So what's uncoordinated about this? Maybe knight d3. But I feel they have some strong rejoinders. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to do this. Of course, queen e1. What else? You know, I really didn't think that they wanted to play e4 here. Yeah, okay. I guess if they want to play e4, that makes sense. Also just getting out of danger. But he said, like, this is clearly a blunder, and I'm, like, looking for more interesting moves than this. This, to me, is kind of just a normal move. But okay. Shai's giving quotes. This is a good exercise for the reader. Yeah, such statements, I can never really tell out of context. Like, was that in a chess book or was that in a physics textbook? Like, that's always the kind of the tone. My personal favorite, I think, is the reader can convince themselves at home. You know, supposing that you're going to go home and convince yourself that they were right, with your probably chalkboard that and your slide rule that you keep in your sleeping area. Okay, so the bishop's under attack. That's unfortunate. Find a crushing move. It's going to be crushing. Obviously, it's pawn takes c4, sacrificing the king for the initiative. Crushing moves, my favorite. What could it be? I wonder about, like, d6, like, get back, you don't know me like that. You can take it with your knight. Something like that. You know, I'm going to play it. Alright, bishop's still hanging. But do I care? That's always a great question. Usually, I find that I don't care. But then I think about it a little bit more, and I just feel kind of bad about not caring, and I do the right thing anyway. So I think bishop d8, maybe. Like, if they take with the rook, I win. So I think they have to take with the queen. And then, like, knight f5 looks pretty crushing, to use the words of Mr. Geary. There's also bishop c3, where I just say, like, your pieces are kind of awful, but I like this one. Alright, Geary didn't like that one, so we're going to do something different. Maybe bishop c3. Yes, of course, what else? Alright, now queen e6. Protect the knight, prepare e4, something. I don't know. Greedy boy plays king a1, but I'm not that one. I don't see no ghosts. Maybe the knight springs into action. running out of time to make witty quips, so I'm going to play knight d3. Yes, so knight f6, preparing probably something like bishop f6. I could chop, 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 right? I chop, and they chop, and I chop, and then they chop, and then I chop. Lots of chopping. I think I would take with the knight first, just to be is obstinatious the word? Maybe f6. Maybe ostentatious, because knight g6, I can play queen e6. That looks very reasonable. I think I'll take it like that. No. Rude. Okay, knight f4. Why knight f4? So they can't take it. That's a good start. But they can trade pieces, and my rook ends up on f4, I guess. I didn't think I really wanted to let them play f6. I wanted to keep attacking, you know. Attack, attack. Constant attack. Never stop. Rook is fine. Yes. Maybe... I don't know. How's the chat doing? Nope. I don't know. Maybe just move the rook over here and like dare them to play f5. I triple dog dare ya. And as everyone knows, a triple dog dare means you have to do it. They're also trying knight d6, so do I care about that? I don't know. Time is low, so I will play rook h4. Yes, queen e2, and then arrows cover the board. I might want to play queen c4. I might want to play rook h4. I might want to play queen h5. I might want to take the king. But all of those things will have to wait. Queen e2 first. I guess improving the queen makes more sense than improving the rook. Like, by some narrow margin. Play like Nepo to deliver the final blow. I wonder what it would be like if in engineering, physics, or math you just called people by like their abbreviated last name or their first name. Play like Albert. Play like Richard. Okay, so maybe I can play this one. I don't know. I could also play this one, or maybe... barely in time. Now the logical follow-up, this one, yes, of course, what else? And then, knight f5, and black resigns. Okay, they don't resign, they play bishop f6. Prime opportunity, play queen to g6, yes. Maybe they'll go here. And then knight g7. Outstanding move. I think that would do it. Now, what if they play king h8? I guess I do my rook lift, something. Alternative, rude. I don't want to hear it. Maybe rook g1. They go here. Queen h6. Yes. Okay, it looks good. See, this is the part that I can do. Pan, yes. Chess vibrates by itself into a higher state of being, no doubt. Apparently this is a bonus puzzle. Right, bonus. Got it. So this is from Karyakin and Anand. This says in the video, Giri mentions the game between Karyakin and Anand. You know what? I knew something was up. I bet Giri didn't even write this book. But they just put his face on it and like used a couple of his quotes after he like was filmed talking about it. All right, Black's bishop appears trapped, but there's clever, even theoretical way that we save it. We play this one. Yes, of course, what else? And then maybe this one? I forget. I should know this, though. I think it's this one. I think there's also this one. Oof, we take this one. I think it's this one. I just always want to play that one. A little bit embarrassing that I don't remember this, but I guess this is not also a position that I play that often. But I remember seeing this before and thinking it was very, very fun. And usually I remember the fun stuff. I think take. Yeah, there's some subtleties here. Now here I think is the moment where I play bishop b3. Okay, yeah, that's right. I think I do this one. Yeah, it says maybe black will sack on a3 one day. I wanted that to be today, but it does make sense to improve your knight first. Okay, I should probably wrap up here so that I can go do my job. But it's been cool. Thanks for joining me for this chesscapade. I will do the same thing tomorrow. Well, not the exact same thing. Otherwise, I wouldn't recommend that you show up. I'm going to do something different, but probably around like the same time of day. So, yep, you stay safe out there too, Pan. Okay, I'll just address this comment before you go. So Pan says that he used Chessable to work through 100 endgames you must know. I think that's a good way to use your time on Chessable. It used a lot of the queen versus 7 and second rank pawn ideas. Yeah, those come up constantly, especially because they also arise from pawn endgames. So very, very useful to know. I would definitely recommend that book to pretty much everyone. It's kind of like the light companion to Dvorsky's Endgame Manual. Alrighty, guys. Gonna wrap up here. Good luck with your chess. And if you want to join the Discord or something, there's the link. You're welcome to join and train your endgame positions and stuff with other people in the server. Alright, later.